day, wishing me heart it was Sunday, drinking wine and beer all the week, time for whiskey on a Sunday.
Well, hello everyone. You're all very welcome in joining me for this special pre-recorded installment of my Instagram usually live series, Whiskey on a Sunday with me, Sam Farrell. Now, as most of you know, I am usually indeed live each Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. However, up here in this part of the world, North America, there's a little bit of a super football game happening on Sunday, and I thought, you know what, pre-recording this installment may just be the best way to go. Now, just before I officially start, if there is anyone watching this video who is not yet of legal age where they live to either consume or purchase alcohol, now is the time to say goodbye. All right, let's dive in, shall we? Now, last week I took a look at the Dewar's deep Scottish history, as well as did a tasting of their aged 12-year double-aged blended whiskey. This week, I'm staying with the Dewar's family, and I'm tasting both their aged 15-year double-aged, as well as their aged 18-year double-aged blended Scottish whiskies. So now, the 15, it's the creation of current master blender Stephanie McLeod, who wanted to create a special blend for the Dewar's portfolio. And she was also inspired by an 1851 Scottish painting by Sir Edwin Landseer called The Monarch of the Glen. Funny enough, which has become the nickname now for the 15, the Monarch. And if you get a chance to check out that painting, The Monarch of the Glen, put it in, you'll see it. Anyways, the 15 was originally intended to be a limited release for certain markets only. However, due to popularity, the 15 has now found a permanent place in the Dewar's lineup. Unique in its own right, as there's not really many 15-year-old whiskeys on the market, period. It's been crafted using a mix of very carefully selected single malts, and the rumor is that the Aberfeldy 27 is the major influence for how this whiskey has been created and crafted. And then, of course, there's selected grain whiskeys in here as well. It's a blended whiskey. So the malt and the grain whiskeys, both of those are individually aged in a mix of sherry and bourbon casks, before being all married together, that's the term the Dewars use, married in oak casks for an unspecified period of time, really. But that's what that double aging means at the end of it all. Okay, so the whiskey itself, 40% alcohol by volume. Let's take a look here in the glass. I'd say that's a bright golden color. Let's go in to get a sniff. Remember, we acclimatize our nose. 1, how you doing? 2, nice to meet you. And 3, hope you're delicious. Okay, now we're ready for the big sniff. Right off the top, it's a bit deeper in aroma than I thought it may be, to be honest, with it being 15. So what am I getting? I'm getting dark honey. So if you've ever seen that or smelt that, dark honey, it's more rich, it's more dense. There's grilled lemon I'm getting orange rind, some sea salt, little sea salty mineral coming out for me, grilled peach, ripe red apple, and then nuttiness, almond, walnut, hazelnut, they all pop out. A little bit of floral coming through, and then some dried fruit notes, like raisin, fig, and then woody notes, cedar, sandalwood, those kind of oaky tones. All right, on the palate. Cheers. Again, always moving the whiskey around. Coat those 5 flavor receptors. You know what? That's quite nice. A lot going on in there. A little sweet at first, but it's not a heavy sweetness. Then I'm getting some fruit, some nuts, and spice. So break it down a bit more. Honey, salty mineral limestone, pear, apple, maybe a little nectarine in there. Hazelnut and almond paste kind of pop out, along with a little bit of black pepper on the tip of my tongue. And then at the back end, I'm getting some brown sugar and, you know, a little vanilla. Overall, the 15. I'm going to be honest, the nose originally led me to think it was going to be more sweet and heavy than it turned out to be. But, you know, in reality, that's not the case on the palate at all. Lots of bright notes on the palate. I say, I like this one quite a bit. I like it quite a bit. All right, so how can you find it if you like what you just heard from what I just said? Well, if you're in Ontario, that may be a little tough. I've really only seen this listed at select duty-free locations where they seem to be charging about $55 Canadian for a 1 liter, 1,000 milliliter, 1 liter bottle. So decent price in my opinion. Seemingly more widely available in the US. I'm seeing it online for anywhere between $45 and $60 US, but that's for a 750 milliliter bottle. So Canadians got the better of the deal, I think, in this one. All right, so put the 15 there, and now we're on to the 18. So the 18, this is another shining example of master blender Stephanie McLeod's artful skill. Absolutely. The Dewar's 18 is a perennial award winner, and as you may have guessed, it's indeed a blended Scottish whiskey containing numerous carefully selected single malt and grain whiskeys. You know, and all of which, again, because we see the 18 on there, we know that all of which have been aged for a minimum of 18 years. The original maturation for each of the whiskeys was done individually in their own respective American oak casks before they were all aged a second time, i.e. double aged, all together in a oak barrel. So also 40% alcohol by volume. Yeah, let's take a look. I'd say that's more of a copper gold color. Yeah, coppery gold. 2, and then number 3, get the nose all acclimatized. All right, big sniff. So it's sweet. Brown sugar, caramel, kind of come out right away. Some yellow apple, but like a ripe yellow apple. A candied orange. Honey's in there, but it's more like a wildflower honey, so a little brighter, lighter. A little bit of dried grass, some grassy notes in here. I get nuttiness, hazelnut, almond, a little salty brine to it, which again lifts it up a bit. And then spices like nutmeg and clove, and then some cedary, woody notes. A very nice nose, don't get me wrong. You know, it's not sickly sweet. All right, time for taste. Okay, so that's luscious. Luscious and extremely smooth. And yes, oh my, a little creamy as well. But you know, not a heavy cream. Flavors coming through, creamy, buttery toffee and butterscotch. Some fruit, but like orange zest, so the rind, or you know, the grated rind, the zest. Marzipan's coming through. A little salted nut, salted cashew, kind of helping to clean up the palate. There's a little tobacco in here, but I'm going to be specific because I know these. I'm going to say it's more like the Dominican cigar tobacco, so it's a little brighter and a little more aggressive than you know, some of the sweeter Cuban cigar notes that you may see or know of. Some cereal in here, some barley definitely is in here. Some dried fruit, dried raisin, it's popping out. Getting some spice, a little cinnamon, it's very nice. A little white pepper, vanilla extract, and then just here again for me at the back, I'm getting, and I don't even know if this exists, but it's like a salted Terry's chocolate orange on the back end. So it's, you know, it's a little salted chocolate and then that sweet kind of orange kind of all working together. Overall, what does Song for All think? as I think it's very enjoyable. For me, this could easily become a staple in my whiskey collection. Easily. All right. Yep. Oh, I like that very much. So, in Ontario, for you viewers in Ontario, again, fortunately, this is a bit of a tough find. Right now, for whatever reason, duty-free seems to be where it's at. So this is $99.95 at Canadian duty-free for a 1 liter bottle again. So, $100, but it's a full liter. I'd say for us Canadian folk, that's good value for an 18-year-old whiskey of this caliber, if you like some of the notes and some of the structure that I just talked about. For my American friends in the US, I have seen this on websites in the States for anywhere between 65 on the low end to 73, 75 USD, but that's for a 750 milliliter bottle. Again, 18-year-old whiskey. I know it's blended, but that doesn't mean anything in these days. They're doing great stuff with blended whiskeys. So, again, my opinion, good value. Dewar's 15, Dewar's 18. So, folks, there you have it. 2, in my opinion, additional fine products from the John Dewar and Sons group. Well, really, Bacardi, that's who owns them all, but brand is John Dewar and Sons. I want to thank you all very much for joining me. I will be back next Sunday, live on Instagram at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with another tasty dram. Please be sure to join me. Until then, be safe out there, folks. Be well, and most importantly, cheers from Some for All.